Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dychronic, on this Destiny 2 video, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Xur, his location, his random rolls, all my recommendations, little bits and pieces about the Xur that you'd ever want to know for September 25th, 2020. And of course, as always, the Xur is here from Friday to Tuesday until reset, so make sure you get everything before that time. You can find him in his regular location on the EDZ. Head over to the Winding Cove, make your way on top of this mountain right here. You can see the public event in the distance here. This is where the Xur is. This is a high overview of everything that he has available, in case this is all you cared about. For the weapon today, we have the Telesto. Now, this weapon has been honestly the problem child of Destiny 2. Had a lot of weird glitches for like infinite super, crazy damage, used to destroy in the Crucible, and right now I would honestly say it's more of a middling weapon. For an exotic, that means that it's a subpar exotic for sure. If you've never heard of it, it basically shoots like a fusion rifle, but instead of shooting regular shots, it shoots out timed explosive shots that also act as proximity explosions. So you can coat entire doorways, floors, and lots of stuff, and it is a lot of fun to do, on top of also multi-kills, immediately reloading your equipped kinetic and energy weapons from reserves, which doesn't really happen that often, but it is part of the weapon. And it does also have a catalyst, which I believe just improves its magazine size. That comes from the, I want to say, Eater of Worlds or Spire Stars, I forget which. Honestly, the Telesto hasn't seen too much light lately. It's not really big in either mode, PvP or PvE, but it is a very good looking weapon, and it may get buffed at some point because it's not really worth much anymore. For the Hunter exotic today, we have the Orpheus Rig. And before you even think about it, honestly, if you don't have this exotic, buy it. This is a pretty good roll for an excellent exotic, probably like the second or third best exotic for hunters across the board. This exotic is very useful. If you've never heard of it, basically you get ability energy, which also includes super energy for each enemy tethered by Deadfall Anchor, which is going to be the way of the Trapper, the one with his single shot super, and Mobius Quiver has more shots. That's going to be the one with the multi-shot quiver. The main idea with this exotic is that you use your super to spawn a bunch of orbs for your teammates, weaken and kill a bunch of enemies, and of course you get up to 50% of your super back, which is the cap with this particular exotic, allowing you to use your tether super more often, and it's very useful for Master and Grandmaster Nightfall. So if you don't have it, you should definitely get it. As for the rolls, primary mobility, always good to see in general, and of course for the Hunter you get your dodges more often, which is good, especially if you're using Void, meaning you can get your invisibility if you're using Way of the Trapper. The other side of things with the high strength is also good, have more smoke bombs to disorient enemies, or make yourself invisible with Way of the Pathfinders, and of course you also have recovery, which is always good to see no matter what you're doing. Obviously you'd like to see a lot more intellect for this particular exotic, but this is a pretty good roll, a 60 plus only, but it's still a pretty good roll for one of the best exotics in the game, with an ornament that, you know, leaves a lot to be desired. For the Titan exotics, today we have the Titan's Ramparts, not to be confused with the Lion's Rampants. For some reason I always confuse the names of those. If you've never heard of it, its main perk is Assault Barricade. You and your allies can shoot through your towering barricade, which also has reduced health and duration. This is really useful when you're playing round-based game modes like Trials of Osiris, where you get to have a save sniper perch to shoot at the enemies, you get your pick, and then you rush the enemies down with superior forces. Outside of that, however, I haven't found too much use for this particular exotic. So definitely a niche use and an interesting exotic, and I honestly would like to see more of this from Destiny, this kind of style of a very niche gameplay. As far as the role goes, primary and intellect is not really synergetic with it, but it is not bad to have. Honestly, you'd like to see a lot more recovery and resilience, which it actually does have, because resilience gives you your barricade more faster, and recovery is good for PvP, where I believe it excels. So a pretty good role, honestly, for maybe an averaging exotic. As for the Warlock exotic today, we have the Lunafaction Boots. I believe I put this at like number 2 or 3 for Warlock exotics across the board. This thing is very useful. If you're doing a raid as a Warlock, almost always you're going to be wearing these boots. If you've never heard of it, Alchemical Etching is its main perk. Make your rifts have the additional ability to increase your weapon's reload speeds up to maximum, and Empowering Rifts, including the Empowering Well, make your weapons effective over longer ranges, which doubles the range of those weapons. I'm not kidding. You put an Empowering Rift down, your hand cannons then have pulse rifle ranges, which also includes the Well. The main use for this exotic is to use it in raids. When you want a DPS dump on a particular boss, you want to reload as fast as possible, and this helps you do that. As far as the role goes, I would like to see a lot in intellect and recovery, because that is what the exotic is based on. So the intellect is lagging there, recovery is pretty good. As far as the other pieces of it, having more discipline is always nice to have, especially on Warlocks. They have great grenades, Attunement of Grace specifically. Healing grenades are also really nice, and mobility is always nice to have. So I'd say a pretty good roll, a total stats of 64 as well, for one of the best exotics in the game that I'd highly recommend you get, even though this exotic does not have any butt to it. I have no idea why, but a lot of Warlock exotics and Warlock leg pieces pieces just have a very, very small butt to it. And I just don't understand why. Like, even if you were to switch this off, like, it's small. I don't know. I don't know. And outside of that, make sure you're picking up your 5 swords for the high-scoring nightfalls on the regular nightfalls. However, from what I understand, they're going to be removing the regular nightfalls in favor of just having ordeals. Make sure you're picking up your Invitation of the Night for powerful gear and lore, and of course, the exotic Engram. Any exotic Engram that drops guarantees you an exotic that you do not have or you have not received. And of course, if you have all of them, it will also guarantee you a high stat roll. Pretty much across. That is a really crazy roll and a literal perfect roll for this exotic. It guarantees a high stat roll every time you get an exotic, and when I get them, that's the whole reason. And this is an incredibly crazy roll. Damn, not a point wasted anywhere. I see that 1 point in resilience on top of the 2 there, and I'm like, what are you doing? Put that in mobility. God damn, this is quite a roll. And yeah, that's gonna be the end of the video. Let me know in the comments down below if any questions, concerns, tips, tricks. You want to say hi if you just like if you like algae, let me know in the comments down below. I hear they're really good at providing, you know, oxygen for us to breathe. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, hope you guys did enjoy. My name is Dychronic, and I'll see you guys on the next one.